Hello, sword friends. As we get close to the holiday season, everyone might want to pick up a brand new sword. So to do that, I'm going to start a new series where we're going to do these kind of micro reviews looking at swords in case anyone's interested in picking one up for the Christmas season. Now, these aren't going to be formal reviews. I haven't been able to churn out very many of them, and I don't want to fall too far behind. So in the interest of time, and because I'm going to be fighting against weather and just the constraints of busy life, etc., what I'm going to start is this new kind of holiday review series where we're going to take a look at several swords at a time, usually from the same maker, and we're going to review those swords and just I'm going to give my off-the-cuff opinion as to what I think they are in terms of how they do as far as are they worth it for your own budget. And we'll break them up as into a couple different price categories and see if I were walking into a store and I saw it on the shelf and had the chance to pull it down and fiddle around with the sword, would it interest me? And maybe that will be helpful to you guys. And this will give us a chance to look at some swords that have just come in or some swords that have been hanging around for a while and I haven't had the chance to do formal reviews on. We will, of course, eventually get the chance to do longer reviews to many of these swords, but this way we can get through a bunch of swords in a kind of quick period of time. And if there are any swords in particular you guys would like to see reviewed like this, let me know. But otherwise, I'll grab a couple swords here. And again, we're going to look at we're going to be looking at specific swords rather than give blanket opinions on makers as we go through them. So to start our series off, we have offerings from Iron Tiger Forge, which we have not looked at before. So the first one is a Liu Ya Dao, and this is a type of saber from China. And picking it up, I'll notice right away, it's pretty heavy. This is a beefy sword. It looks quite nice. This is going to fall in the budget category as far as price is concerned. And for that price, I have to say it definitely looks the part. It looks historical. If I just saw a picture of this, I'd say, yep, that is a Qing era Liu Ya Dao, or Yanamo Dao, depending on how curved it is. I really like how the Tunko's done. I like how the Husho Pan's done. There's a lot of intricate detailing in there. But the blade is just really heavy. Now, I've tested this before, and it's got a decent edge on it. It's also pattern welded. So this looks really pretty, and it's got the right configurations of fullering, etc. The type of work, the kind of Yongshui fittings on here are correct. It even has this pretty little jade belt hook on there. So everything from an aesthetics point of view and from a construction point of view is correct. If you just want a really pretty looking, late Qing period saber to hang on the wall, or if you're doing cosplay or something like that, this is gonna hit all the marks pretty well. Would I pick it up? Probably not, because, well, it looks great, and I'd probably reach in the store and grab it right away. As soon as I picked it up, I'd say, that's really beefy. Oh, this is a lot of sword. Were there historical examples like this? Maybe, but there is just not enough distal taper here. It starts off very thick. It starts off maybe 7.5 millimeters, and it doesn't taper nearly enough. And as a result, you have too much sword there and not enough sword there. This guy over here would say it's design first and not dynamics first. So I would say that this will suit someone who is really interested in how the sword looks and not how the sword performs. Because its price is so low, I'd be tempted to give this one a nod. So it depends on really what you're interested in. I'll cautiously say that you could pick this one up with the understanding that even though you probably can cut with this, this is not going to perform like a well-made Chinese saber should. The other offering from Iron Tiger Forge is this handsome Jian, Jian being a straight double-edged Chinese sword. Fans from the Avatar The Last Airbender may recognize this design looking very similar to Sokka's sword. So Sokka designed a sword from a meteorite that looked very similar to this. This is a design that goes all the way back to the Han Dynasty. And the very high-end Han swords, the sword for those in the imperial court, would have very intricate guards like this. They're kind of squared off, and they're often made of precious metals or made out of jade and nephrite. And this is consistent with the intricate decorations that we have on the scabbard. We have our cool little dragon going on here, and we've got a Tatui or some other type of zoomorphic character here on the end as well. It's very handsome looking. I like the shape of the way that the scabbard's put together, the way it transitions from a hexagonal to a kind of ovoidal point here, and the harmonious looking pommel that we have there. Now that said, the proportions aren't really great on it, and just like the saber we looked at, as soon as I pick it up, this is just a really, really big and heavy sword. I'll pull it out, and as I pull it out, the scabbard is quite heavy. The fittings on it are just way too large, and the blade is period accurate. So the blade, it has two things important. It's got wasting up here, so the blades from this period would go straight, and then they'd pinch in a little bit up towards the top, and it's also hexagonal in, octagonal in cross section. So it's four-sided on each of the halves, and it's got a beautiful pattern weld to it. And it does come reasonably sharp. It could probably be a little sharper than this. So the blade work is beautiful. Now this is more expensive than the other sword. This is a mid-range price sword, and it's a really, really pretty design. This one, perhaps more even than the other one, really looks gorgeous. So if you want a sword that you can present on your desk so that when everyone comes in, they can just be impressed at how lovely the sword looks, this is an example that really looks great. However, this does not handle anything like swords from the period did. The grip is way too long. This is not a single-handed sword, nor is it a two-handed sword grip, and the blade is too short. The proportions are all incorrect. I mentioned before that the fittings are too big and heavy. So to have a fittings this size, they would have been made out of, they could have even been made of wood, or if they were this brass work, they would have been pierced more so that they wouldn't be so massive and cause so much weight. The blade is probably too thick. It needs to be reduced so that it doesn't require so much balancing over here in the grip in order to counterbalance it, and even so, it's just clunky in the hand. This is a sword that doesn't really want to perform in the way that it needs to. So this is an overweight sword. So once again, is this something that I could recommend? I can't really recommend it as a fighting sword. It's probably functional. It probably will not fall apart on you if you hit it. But once again, the aesthetics have overtaken its ability to perform dynamically. So this doesn't really function as a fighting weapon. This is just a courtly sword. So if you want to think about it like as a courtly sword, it's getting a kind of low scored historically. It has a lot of historical elements to it, but they didn't really study the original designs well. If we went back in time, 15 years, 20 years, this would be really well received, because at the time, we didn't have a lot of research as to what the sword from this period looked like. Now, makers like LK Chen, The Art of Fire and Iron, and private smiths are producing high-end, very faithful reproductions of sword from this period, and this kind of design is kind of being left behind in the dust. So I would say only pick this up if you just happen to really like how this sword looks. If it looks really nice to you, then by all means go ahead and pick it up. But otherwise, I'd say give it a pass. And if you want a sword from this period, look at one of the other makers that are producing it. All right, guys. So I didn't mention it before, but these swords are coming to me by a variety of ways. Some will be swords that I've purchased myself. Others will be swords that have been traded for or have been gifted to me or have been sent to me by review. But we're going to approach them all the same way. I'm going to always look at a sword and say, if I saw this sword, would I be interested in buying it? And hopefully that information will prove useful to you. All right, guys. Until next time, we'll be back and we'll see some more swords.